Hello, friends. It's Nancy from Astrology and Angel Mediums today with another deck review. I noticed I had more tarot deck reviews than oracles cards. So I was like, let me kind of get on here and talk about some of my other very well used and well loved oracle decks. So today I'm going to talk about the Elemental Empath by Miyuki Rose and why I love using it and why I feel like it is a wonderful deck to add to your collection if you are someone that is looking for something a little bit different. Now, I know that this is talking about a self-love oracle deck for empathic women, so that may be something that may not always resonate with everybody. But as someone who identifies as a woman and works with a lot of women in what I do, I thought that this was a beautiful deck to add to my collection and to kind of use in my practice. Now, what is so funny about the story of why I got this deck is I thought this was a tarot deck, and it was not. I was very surprised when it came in. I was like, what? And then I looked at the description, and sure enough, it was never a tarot deck. It was an oracle deck. So I don't remember how many cards are in this deck. I'm pretty sure it's about 44 or so. Okay, after looking through the guidebook, it looks like this is a 52 card deck. And I really liked the artwork of it. I don't know, for some reason it just really spoke to me. And I just thought it was going to be a very good deck to kind of add into my practice. And I will kind of show you guys some cards here and there. So as far as like the card stock, it's pretty standard, a little bit thinner. As you can see, mine are a little bent just from use, and they are gilded with a kind of like matte gold. It's not super shiny, which I think looks great with the backs of the cards and the actual cards. Now, this deck has a really intensive guidebook. I don't really use the guidebook in my sessions with clients. So it is kind of an interesting thing to add on if you want to. I do think it'd be great for someone that wants to use this deck for journaling or something along those lines. Now, it does have quite a bit of information about how to meditate, connecting to your inner guide, and a little bit of a description as far as like who wrote the deck. And so here we have full color pictures inside of the guidebook, a lot of information. And so there's a little bit of everything in here. And then there's also going to be, some of these talk about like exercises you can do. There's also some have like journaling things or exercises to kind of focus on, which I think is great, especially, and then there's a credit to each of the models for each of the cards. So it does have a lot of energy to kind of work through if that is something that you're wanting, something that's a little bit more like intense, more explanatory. If you do tend to struggle with what do I do with this card's message, or what does this mean for me? This is great because it has a lot of information for each of the cards, and each of the cards has that much going on, and it has different things to kind of think about. It almost reminds me of Alana Fairchild's decks. So if you are a fan of Alana Fairchild's work, this would be a good one, but it's a little bit smaller with the guidebook. So I think this has got to be like 200. Yeah, this is 273 pages for the guidebook. That's quite a bit. It's chunky. It's a chunky little book. Now, as far as the cards, the reason why I have really loved working with this deck is I love the imagery. There is some nudity, so I'm going to try to just kind of skip those and hopefully not be taken down. But I just love the themes. These are all themes that many women can relate to, especially those of us that are on the spiritual path. And they're just really wonderful reminders. There's very powerful imagery to kind of connect to. I also really love the very inclusive imagery. It's not just one sort of body type in here or one skin color. There's a little bit of everything. There's, things that can be very easy for us to connect to, and very beautiful themes, especially when you are a woman on your spiritual journey. it can feel a little bit challenging when you're not seeing someone that looks like you in the cards. And so it is very nice to see that they included all kinds of different colors and shapes and sizes and ages in the cards. I mean, just this one is beautiful, the Star Divine. So it's kind of a mixture between photography, collage art, and then like someone has drawn on each of the photos, it seems like, which I think is great. But there's so many beautiful themes. And I think the reason why I thought this was a tarot deck is because I was seeing the different colors. They have like the emotional suit, they have like the physical suit, they had like a fire suit or whatever. So I thought maybe that's why I thought it was whatever. And then they have like their main cards. So I think this is like one of their main cards where we have a little bit of that, or the ones with the little stars. So this is like the spiritual thing. And so we can just kind of see a lot of these themes, which kind of come up whenever we are in the middle of our spiritual journey. And I think it's very helpful for us to have a deck that maybe you can kind of connect to, that maybe is a little bit untraditional. I haven't seen too many people use this deck. I think it's great. I think it's lovely, especially if you are a woman that is looking for different decks to maybe connect to in your practice. I think this is a beautiful one to work with. And the other reasons why I find that it's such a beautiful deck to use with my clients is I feel that the energy is very soft. It's very welcoming, even when we're talking about grief or like this card, feeling your emotions. It's very gentle kind of energy to kind of bring into a reading, especially if you're like me. I love to use tarot with my main kind of like concerns. And then I like to use Oracle as a means of like, okay, let's try to find some realistic and soft or solutions to kind of help me through the next phase. And I have felt like this deck has really held up as much as I've shuffled it, as much as I've carried it with me traveling about. It is held up. I mean, it's a little bent, but that is what happens with decks. It has kind of a linen finish with the actual cardstock, and it is not, maybe like an eggshell is kind of what I would call it. It's not super matte, which I do like. And the cards have, I think it's because it's that linen kind of cardstock, they shuffle really well. So I do think, and it's a traditional Oracle card deck size. It's not anything crazy. It's just, you know, it's good. It's not so many cards that you can't shuffle. I guess we need the inner child today. I do need to play and laugh, I guess. Not the deck calling me out because I haven't used it. I don't really use this for my own personal practice. So I think it was like, ma'am, you need to pay attention. So see, it just has a very nice, welcoming energy to it from what I've noticed. And I really do enjoy this energy. And then unapologetic. Another thing that I'm currently trying to work through at the current moment. So I don't really have much more else to kind of add. I do think that the deck is very gentle. It's beautiful. It has really interesting artwork. And I do love the inclusive kind of imagery between all of the cards. And I really do love that the guidebook is something that you can lean into if you're looking for a practice for yourself that maybe you tend to struggle with. I think this is great because there's exercises for each of the cards. It can kind of give you a warning as far as like potential blocks that you may be experiencing due to maybe not listening to those messages, which I think is very helpful, especially if you are someone that is really wanting to dive a little bit deeper in your spiritual journey. This is a beautiful deck to help you on that journey and to kind of find different ways to grow in your gifts, to grow in your spiritual practices, to feel a little bit more supported through different things. And it does kind of bring up some harder lessons, but also giving you a lot of perspective, a lot of information, and a lot of supportive exercises and journaling prompts to kind of keep in mind as you move through these challenges. So let me know if you've ever heard of this deck. I'm sure if you've watched any of my videos, you've probably seen me using this deck because I think it's a beautiful one. I think it has wonderful energy, male or female. I just think that the lessons are still very applicable for everyone. So I hope that this made sense. As always, please take care. Thank you for being here and watching my videos. And let me know if there's another deck that maybe is out there that I haven't reviewed yet that you would like my review on it. Maybe I already have it in my collection, or maybe it's one that I can do a deck unboxing for. So take care, stay safe, and as always, make good choices. Bye.